Welcome back to ZE Coins Deep Dive. We're uncovering the full story of the 1973 Washington quarter dollar. From its origins to rare errors that can bring thousands of dollars at auction, we'll explore why this simple 25-cent piece might be worth far more than you think. So sit back, grab your coin jars, and let's begin this journey into American numismatic history. Let's start with a bit of context. The Washington quarter has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1932. Introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, this coin replaced the standing Liberty quarter and has remained in circulation ever since. The obverse features the profile of George Washington facing left, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. The reverse, until 1998, displayed an eagle with outstretched wings clutching a bundle of arrows with olive branches below. Now, fast forward to the year 1973. At first glance, the 1973 quarter might look like any ordinary coin found in your change. But don't be fooled. There are some hidden gems and rare varieties in this mintage that are worth serious money today. In 1973, Washington quarters were minted at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins do not carry a mint mark. Denver coins bear the D mint mark, and San Francisco coins carry the S mint mark. The mintage numbers were high. Over 346 million quarters were struck in Philadelphia and over 232 million at Denver. San Francisco produced more than 2 million proof coins exclusively for collectors. So what makes the 1973 Washington quarter valuable? It all comes down to condition, rarity, and errors. Let's talk about the most common version first, the circulated 1973 P&D quarters. These coins, if worn and showing signs of use, are generally worth only their face value, 25 cents. But the game changes dramatically if your coin is in mint state condition. Uncirculated 1973 quarters that grade MS65 or higher can be worth from $10 to $50. Go even higher, into MS67 territory, and the value skyrockets. A 1973D quarter graded MS67 by PCGS sold at auction for over $1,500. That's right. A quarter dollar worth over $1,500 simply because of its pristine condition. The same goes for the Philadelphia version. Though fewer high-grade examples have survived, a 1973 P quarter in MS67 condition can fetch over $1,000. These coins are rare in top condition because they were mass-produced for circulation and not preserved in rolls or sets like other collector coins. Now let's talk about the San Francisco proof coins. These were not intended for circulation but for collectors. They were struck with special care, using polished dies and planchets. A perfect proof quarter from 1973, graded PR70 Deep Cameo, is a stunning coin, mirror-like surfaces and frosty raised features. Such examples can sell for over $100 depending on the grading company and market demand, but here's where things get even more exciting. The error coins, coin errors, are some of the most sought-after items in the numismatic world. And the 1973 Washington quarter has its fair share of notable examples. Some of the rarest and most valuable errors include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong metal. A double die obverse or reverse, where the design appears slightly doubled due to a die mishap during production, can easily sell for hundreds. An off-center quarter missing 10 to 50% of its design can also command impressive prices. One of the holy grails is a 1973 quarter struck on a foreign planchet or the wrong metal. Imagine finding a quarter that is much lighter than normal. Or one that sounds different when dropped. These coins are rare and can sell for hundreds to thousands, especially if authenticated by a top-tier grading service. So how do you know if you've got a valuable 1973 quarter? First, check the condition. Is the coin uncirculated? Does it have full details with little to no wear? That's your first clue. Then look for mint errors. Hold the coin under a magnifying glass. Look for doubling on letters or numbers. Check the edges for smoothness or signs of misalignment. Weigh the coin if you can. A standard Washington quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. Anything significantly different could indicate a rare error. Lastly, consider having your coin professionally graded. Reputable services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate, grade, and encapsulate your coin, giving it a boost in both legitimacy and market value. Now let's talk about the current market. As of today, the coin collecting market remains strong. Rare and high-grade 1973 quarters continue to fetch premium prices, especially as more collectors compete for the best examples. Online marketplaces, coin shows, and auction houses are all excellent places to check current values or sell your coin. Just remember, condition is king. A regular worn quarter might only be worth 25 cents, but a mint-state gem or error coin can be worth thousands. To recap, the 1973 Washington quarter dollar is a fascinating piece of American coinage history. While most are common and worth face value, those in top condition or with dramatic errors can be extremely valuable. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, always keep your eyes open. That ordinary-looking quarter in your change might be hiding a fortune. We're diving deep into one specific coin that might just be hiding in your change jar or an old drawer. It's the 1966 Washington quarter, and believe me when I say, some of these coins are worth way more than 25 cents. We're talking hundreds or even thousands of dollars for certain rare varieties. So stick around as we explore the history, hidden treasures, and current market value of the 1966 Washington quarter dollar. Let's begin with the historical background. The Washington quarter was first issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. It was meant to be a one-year commemorative coin, but due to its popularity, it became a permanent part of U.S. coinage. Fast forward to 1966, and we find ourselves in a unique period in U.S. coin history. Just 1 year earlier, in 1965, the U.S. Mint made a major change that would impact every quarter going forward: the removal of silver. That's right. If you're holding a quarter dated 1964 or earlier, it's made of 90% silver. But from 1965 onward, the U.S. Mint switched to a clad composition, that means a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. The reason? Rising silver prices and a national coin shortage forced the Mint to look for cheaper alternatives. The 1966 Washington quarter is one of the first full production years for this new clad coinage. Over 821 million quarters were minted in Philadelphia that year. No mint mark was used in 1966 due to the Coinage Act changes. That means if you have a 1966 quarter with no mint mark, it's completely normal. It still came from the Philadelphia Mint. So you might be wondering, if this coin isn't silver and if so many were made, how can it possibly be valuable? Great question. Most 1966 quarters you'll find in circulation today are only worth their face value, 25 cents. But there are rare exceptions. What makes a coin worth big money? It comes down to three main things: condition, errors, and rarity. Let's start with condition. Collectors pay top dollar for coins in pristine condition. These are called mint state coins, often graded on a scale from 60 to 70. A 1966 Washington quarter graded MS-67 or higher by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC can be worth anywhere from $150 to over $2,500 depending on demand. The record price for a 1966 Washington quarter was set in 2023 when a stunning MS-68 Plus example sold for over $4,000 at auction. That's right, a regular quarter from 1966 sold for more than $4,000, just because of its perfect condition and eye appeal. Now let's talk about errors. This is where things get really interesting. Point one: of the most valuable types of 1966 quarters are the ones with mint errors. These are mistakes that happen during the coin-making process. For example, double die errors, where the design elements appear to be doubled due to a misalignment in the die, can be worth hundreds of dollars. Off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned on the planchet, can also be worth big money, especially if a large portion of the design is missing but the date is still visible. Other errors like die cracks, die clashes, or even struck-through errors, where foreign material leaves a mark on the coin, can all make your 1966 quarter worth far more than its face value. But there's one more type of rare 1966 quarter we absolutely have to talk about: transitional errors. These are coins that were accidentally struck on the wrong metal planchet. For example, a 1966 quarter that was mistakenly struck on a silver planchet instead of the new copper-nickel clad one. It's rare, but it has happened. If you suspect your 1966 quarter looks and sounds different, maybe it's heavier or has a silver shine, you might want to get it tested for silver content. If it turns out to be a transitional error, it could be worth thousands. Now let's talk about how to identify a potentially valuable 1966 quarter. First, look at the coin's condition. Is it shiny with few scratches? That could be worth grading. Next, check for any unusual features, double lettering, off-center designs, or strange marks. Finally, weigh the coin. A normal 1966 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. Anything significantly more or less could be a sign of an error or a wrong planchet, alright? So you've checked your pocket change, and maybe you think you found something special. What's next? If you think you found a rare or valuable coin, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can reduce its value dramatically. Instead, take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll evaluate it, assign a grade, and certify its authenticity. That certification can make a big difference when it comes time to sell. And now let's wrap up with current market values. As of now, most circulated 1966 quarters are still worth around 25 cents. Uncirculated examples in mint state condition can sell for anywhere from $10 to $30, depending on the grade. But certified MS-67 or better quarters can fetch hundreds, and those with rare errors or extremely high grades can go into the thousands. The coin collecting market is always shifting, so values can rise over time, especially for coins with proven rarity and demand. So, next time you're digging through a jar of change or going through old coin rolls, don't overlook that 1966 Washington quarter. What looks like a regular coin might just be a hidden treasure. We are diving into the fascinating story behind the 1979 Washington quarter dollar. You might think this coin is just another piece of loose change from your pocket, but what if I told you some of these coins could be worth a fortune today? We'll explore everything about the 1979 quarter, from its historical background and key features to rare errors and current market values. Let's begin with a little history. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It was intended to be a one-year commemorative coin, but due to its popularity it became a permanent part of U.S. coinage. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of George Washington based on a bust by Jean-Antoine Hood. On the reverse shows an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows and framed by olive branches. Fast forward to 1979 and the Washington quarter saw no major design changes, but it did mark the start of an era for more modern minting techniques. This year's quarter was struck at three different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each has its own characteristics and potential value. Let's break them down. First up is the 1979 Philadelphia quarter, which does not carry a mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 515 million of these quarters, making them the most common among the three mints. However, even with that high number, some coins still stand out due to exceptional condition or errors. A pristine uncirculated example graded MS-67 or higher by a professional grading service can sell for around $50 to $200. Rare mint errors like off-center strikes or double dies can fetch even higher prices. Next, we have the 1979 Denver quarter bearing the D mint mark. The Denver Mint struck over 489 million quarters in 1979, making it almost as common as the Philadelphia version. Still, if you come across a high-grade coin, especially one in MS-67 condition or above, you might be looking at a coin worth anywhere from $30 to $150. Depending on collector demand and market trends. Now here's where things get really interesting. The San Francisco Mint produced two versions of the 1979 quarter for proof sets. These coins have a mirror-like finish and were never meant for circulation. The first type is known as the Type 1 proof with a filled S mint mark. This version is more common and sells for around $5 to $10 in most cases, but the real treasure lies in the 1979 S Type 2 proof quarter. This rare variety features a clear, sharply defined S mint mark compared to the mushy-looking one on the Type 1. This change came midway through the year when the Mint updated the dies because it was produced in smaller numbers. The Type 2 is much rarer and can command prices from $50 all the way up to $500 or more for flawless deep cameo specimens. Graded PR70 collectors should also watch for error coins from all three mints. Some of the most sought after include off-center strikes, double dies, and coins struck on planchets meant for other denominations. These kinds of errors are rare and their value depends on the type and severity of the error, but some have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. If you want to know how much your 1979 quarter is worth, the first step is to identify the mint mark. Look just to the right of Washington's ponytail. You'll see a DNS or nothing at all, which means Philadelphia. Then check the condition. A coin that's been in circulation with scratches and wear will generally only be worth face value, but a coin with a shiny uncirculated surface or strong luster is much more desirable. Finally, look for any unusual features like misaligned text, doubled images, or off-center designs. If you think you have something special, it's worth getting the coin graded by a reputable third-party service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations certify the coin's authenticity and quality, which greatly boosts its resale value. As of 2025, the coin market continues to grow with new Collectors entering the hobby every day demand for high-grade and rare error coins remains strong. That means your 1979 quarter, especially if it's in excellent condition or has a rare variation, could be worth far more than 25 cents. So next time you get change back from a store or go through your old coin jar, take a close look at those quarters. One of them might just be the key to unlocking a small fortune. We're diving deep into a fascinating coin that you might just have in your pocket or tucked away in an old jar somewhere. The 1980p Washington quarter dollar. It might look like just another quarter, but this coin has a story, a history, and in some cases a value that will surprise you. So grab a seat, because we're about to uncover the secrets behind the 1980p quarter, from its origins to the reasons why it's become such a hot item for collectors across the country and even around the world. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the quarter has gone through many changes over the decades, but one thing has remained constant: George Washington's profile on the obverse or front of the coin. Now fast forward to 1980. This was a year of transition in America, economically, politically, and culturally. Big changes were happening, and the coins produced that year reflect a unique time in the U.S. mint's history. The 1980p quarter stands out not just for its age but also for what makes it special among collectors. The P Mint mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint, which produced over 635 million quarters in 1980. That's a huge number. So what makes this particular coin so collectible, you ask? Well, the answer lies in several key factors that every collector should know. First, condition matters. Coins that are worn out from circulation might only be worth face value, but coins in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially those graded MS65 and higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC, can fetch serious money. Take this for example: a 1980p quarter graded MS67 by PCGS has sold for as much as $1,000. Yes, you heard that right, a single quarter worth 25 cents sold for over $1,000. Why? Because of its pristine condition, razor-sharp strike, and lack of blemishes. But that's not all. Let's talk about errors. Error coins are a whole different category, and the 1980p quarter has some fascinating examples that drive up their value dramatically. Some of the most desirable error types include double die obverse off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong metal. Blanks, for instance, a 1980p quarter with a major off-center strike recently sold for over $250, and if you happen to come across one struck on a foreign planchet, well, that could be worth even more depending on rarity and demand. Now let's talk about the design features to help you identify valuable pieces. Start by looking at the lettering. The word Liberty, the date, and the motto "In God We Trust" should be crisp and well defined. On the reverse side, check the eagle's feathers and the details in the talons and olive branches. These are high points on the coin that often show wear, so if they're sharp you may have a high-grade coin. Another thing collectors look for is luster, that original shine from the minting process. Coins that have been kept in coin rolls or mint sets often retain their luster, and these are the coins that can command premiums on the market. Now let's dive into current market trends. As of mid-2025, the market for vintage U.S. coinage, especially quarters from the late 20th century, is growing. This is largely due to increased interest from new collectors, online auction sites, and a general awareness of coin collecting as a form of investment. On average, circulated 1980p quarters still trade for face value, but once you get into uncirculated and error categories, you're entering a whole new world. MS65 examples can bring in $15 to $30, while MS66s might fetch $50 to $75, and the rare MS67 and above, that's where the big money comes in, ranging from several $100s to even over $1,000 depending on demand and grading. Population error coins vary more wildly. A double die might get you $100 to $300, while off-center and planchet errors range from $50 to over $500. So how can you find one of these gems? First, check your pocket change. You never know what you might find next. Visit local coin shops and shows, talk to experienced collectors, get a magnifying glass, and study your coins carefully. The more you learn, the more chance you have of spotting a valuable piece. And here's one last tip: if you think you found a rare or high-grade coin, consider having it professionally graded. While there is a fee involved, having that certification from PCGS or NGC can dramatically increase the resale value and credibility of your coin. So there you have it, the 1980p Washington quarter, a coin you might have overlooked, but one that could turn out to be a hidden treasure. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, keep your eyes peeled, because history and value often come in small, shiny packages.
We are diving deep into the fascinating world of American coinage as we uncover the full story behind the 1989 Washington quarter dollar. You may think it is just another quarter you find in your pocket, but some of these coins have surprised collectors and dealers by fetching high prices in the marketplace. So what makes some of these coins worth big money while others are just face value? Let's get into it. First, a little background on the Washington quarter series. It all started back in 1932 when the U.S. Mint introduced a new quarter design to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the coin featured the bust of Washington on the obverse or front side and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. This design remained largely unchanged for decades until the state quarters program launched in 1999. Now zooming in on the 1989D Washington quarter. The D stands for the Denver Mint, which is where this coin was produced. In that year, more than 896 million of these quarters were struck, making them quite common in terms of circulation. However, the devil is in the details. Not every coin is created equal, and some 1989D quarters have features or errors that make them rare and incredibly valuable. So what should collectors look out for? First and foremost is the condition of the coin. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers indicating a better state of preservation. A coin in mint state or MS condition can be worth significantly more than a circulated one. For example, an MS 67 grade 1989D Washington quarter can sell for over $1,000 at auction. Why? Because only a tiny fraction of the nearly 900 million coins struck that year have survived in such pristine condition. But condition is just one piece of the puzzle. What really gets collectors excited are mint errors. These are coins that were struck incorrectly due to issues during the manufacturing process. Some of the most valuable 1989D Washington quarters feature dramatic errors such as off-center strikes, double dice, and clipped planchets. A double die adverse error where the details on Washington's face and inscriptions appear double can command several hundred to thousands of dollars depending on the visibility and condition. There are also transitional planchet errors to be aware of. While rare, some coins are accidentally struck on metal blanks intended for other denominations or years. Imagine finding a 1989D quarter struck on a nickel planchet or even a foreign coin blank. These types of errors are extremely scarce and highly desirable in the numismatic world. So how can you find out if your 1989D quarter is worth more than 25 cents? First, grab a magnifying glass or a coin microscope. Look for any abnormalities such as doubling on the letters, especially in the word liberty or in the motto "In God We Trust." Check the edges for smoothness or irregularities and pay close attention to the overall sharpness of the design. If you think you have something special, it is worth getting the coin professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. Now let us talk about current market values. As of this year, a standard 1989D quarter in circulated condition is generally worth only face value. However, in uncirculated condition, values start to rise quickly. An MS-65 example might sell for $20 to $30, while an MS-67 could reach up to $1,500 or more at auction. Error coins vary widely depending on the nature and rarity of the error. Some off-center errors have sold for $200 to $500. Dramatic double dice have been known to reach prices of over $2,000. The bottom line is this. While most 1989D Washington quarters are still just quarters, some are hidden gems. Whether it is a high-grade mint state piece or a rare mint error, this ordinary-looking coin can pack a serious punch in terms of value. And the best part, you might already have one in your collection or even in your change jar. Before we wrap up, here is a quick tip for beginner collectors. Always store your coins properly in acid-free holders or flips and avoid cleaning them. Cleaning a coin can damage the surface and drastically reduce its value even if it looks shiny afterward. Collectors and graders value originality and preservation above all. We're talking about one of the most fascinating modern coins in U.S. history, the 1995P Washington quarter. This is not just any coin. Some of these little pieces of metal are worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And by the time we're done, you'll know exactly what to look for, why it matters, and how much it could be worth in today's coin market. Let's start with a bit of history. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Fast forward to 1995, and we're looking at a coin struck in Philadelphia. That's what the P mint mark stands for. Over 1.1 billion of these quarters were minted that year, which makes them pretty common. But don't let the mintage numbers fool you. It's not about how many were made. It's about the few that have something different. Something rare. Something special. Now, let's talk about those details. A standard 1995P Washington quarter is made from a clad composition. That means it has a copper core with outer layers of nickel. It weighs 5.67 grams and has a reeded edge. The obverse side, that's the front, features the classic profile of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. And the reverse side shows the eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, a symbol of both war and peace. But what makes the 1995P quarter stand out isn't the design. It's the errors. Yes, coin errors. Mistakes at the mint that turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. One of the most well-known errors on the 1995P Washington quarter is the double die obverse. That means during the minting process, the die that strikes the coin shifted slightly between impressions, causing a visible doubling of certain features, especially the word liberty and the motto "And God We Trust." If you find one of these coins with a strong double die, you could be holding a small fortune. These coins have sold for hundreds of dollars depending on their condition. Another sought-after variety is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned in the press, causing the design to appear shifted or incomplete. The more dramatic the misalignment and the more of the date that's still visible, the higher the value. Off-center 1995P quarters can sell for $50 or more, and that's just for moderately circulated examples. Then there's the clipped planchet error. Imagine a coin that looks like someone took a small bite out of it. That's usually caused by a blank being punched out too close to the edge of the metal strip. These clipped quarters are quirky, rare, and absolutely collectible. Now, let's say you don't have an error coin. What if you got a standard 1995P quarter in really good condition? Is it still worth something? The answer is yes if it's in mint state condition. That means it has never been circulated, never used in a vending machine, never jingled around in a pocket. Professional coin grading services assign a numeric grade from 1 to 70. The higher the number, the better the condition. Coins graded MS65 or higher are especially valuable. A 1995P quarter graded MS67 by PCGS or NGC can be worth over $100. And one in MS68? Those can fetch $500 or more at auction. So what's driving these prices? Scarcity and demand. Even though millions were minted, only a tiny fraction survive in pristine condition. Most have been spent, scratched, or worn down over the decades. Serious collectors want the best examples they can find and they're willing to pay a premium for it. And let's not forget about full strike details. Collectors love quarters that show every feather on the eagle, every strand of Washington's hair. Sharpness of detail, lack of contact marks, original luster, all of these factors play into value. Now here's the big question. What is the current market value of the 1995P Washington quarter? As of today, a regular circulated 1995P quarter is still worth face value just 25 cents. But if you got a mint state coin, especially in MS66 or higher, it could be worth anywhere from $10 to several $100. Error coins like a dramatic off-center strike or a strong double die can sell for $100 to over $1,000 depending on rarity and condition. And remember, the coin market is always changing. Values go up and down based on auctions, collector interest, and economic factors. So before you spend that old quarter in your change jar, take a good look. Get a magnifying glass. Check for doubling. Look at the edges. Check for clipping. If it looks perfect and untouched, it might be worth sending in for grading. You never know that 25-cent piece could turn into a payday. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new or found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more coin collecting tips, rare finds, and up-to-date market values. Drop a comment below if you ever found a rare quarter or if you got questions about coins in your collection. And as always, happy collecting!